Hey everyone, welcome back to another Tic Tac Taiko. Now, some of the more observant of you are going to notice that I am lying down, and that's because this week's Taiko drill is the easiest, laziest drill that you could ever do. But despite that, there's a lot of depth if you look. So let's take a look and see what I've come up with this week. I decided for the rest of this video I'm going to stand up, but maybe I'll change my mind and lie down later. Who knows? All you need for this week's drill is two things. One of these and one of these. And I'm going to actually ask you to do something before the video continues. I want you to take these two instruments and solo for, let's say, 30 seconds, maybe a little longer if you're feeling it. I really want you to do this before you continue on, before I do my version. And I don't want to say why, because even saying it will give a little bit of it away. I will say this, it will lose impact if you watch the video and then come back and try to do it. You'll have much more of an aha or light bulb moment if you do some soloing first and then you continue. So go ahead, pause the video here, do your thing, and I'll see you on the other side. Don't think of what I was doing as showing off. Think of it as me showing possibilities and ideas and potential. There are people who do body percussion like this and are experts at it, and this is just me having some fun. But the idea behind this whole week's drill is the idea of being creative with a simple tool and a very simple parameter. There's nothing I did in that demo that any of you couldn't be doing yourself. And having given enough time, I'm sure almost all of you would have come up with most, if not even more, than what I did. But the lesson isn't done there. You could stop here, and in fact, I would encourage you, go ahead, try a solo, see what happens. But there's more to talk about. But before we continue, don't forget, hit that thumbs up button. The algorithm loves it, I love it, I'm sure you love it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead, click that button down there. I would greatly appreciate it. Now back to the drill. Because this channel is Tic Tac Taiko and not Tic Tac stuff, I want to make sure this relates to Taiko and show you how. Previously, we had one hand and one chest. Now you've got one bachi and one drum. It's the same exact thing. Now I'm not going to demo very much on this drum pad. Because it's a drum pad and not actual Taiko, there's a lot of nuance and a lot of subtleties that you're not going to hear, that are going to be hard for even me to hear. But for sake of fun, I'm going to do a little bit anyways. Now, had I not been recording, had I not promised I would do that just for a short while, I would still be goofing around and trying all kinds of weird things and annoying the neighbors, I'm sure. When it comes to creativity in this manner, I find personally that there are three different ways that I arrive at it. One way is when I see or am shown a technique or an idea, just like you were looking at me doing this earlier. I'm sure some of you thought, oh, I never considered to do it this way. And if you were to solo again, you would try some of those things, just like I did with the bachi and the drum pad. That's a very easy way to sort of spark inspiration and give you motivation to try new stuff out. The second way for me is when inspiration hits out of nowhere, like a light switch was flipped on and I have this idea, I gotta try it, and I start experimenting. It's very similar to being shown something, but I couldn't pinpoint the idea that sparked that inspiration. My brain was processing in the background, maybe from something I saw or heard in the past, but it just now decided to manifest. And the third way, and in some ways the most interesting, is boredom. Now, if I said, hey, I want you to solo with one hand on your chest for 8 minutes. Okay, let's say you agree to that. After a while, doing this is gonna get kind of dull. Okay, I've done patterns and I've done things. You might move your hand around and realize, oh, it sounds different here versus here, different here. So now I have 3 tones, and I bet money that eventually you start playing with different parts of your hand, which could lead you to closing the fist or just the 4 knuckles or just trying stuff out. And that's how I arrived at all of these sounds. I was just bored and experimenting, and then, ooh, this sounds good. This is now part of my repertoire. So boredom can be used as a tool. However, I think most taiko players play taiko for a reason. And that sounds weird. Of course you play for a reason. Why wouldn't you? But I mean, you're playing to practice a pattern, a song, you're playing with the group and you're soloing, you're thinking about technique and key and stance and all of these things, rather than just going, let's see what happens. And letting boredom hit is, I think, natural, but then to push past it is a place that most artists don't like to go. Not just taiko, I'm just in general. But when you push past that boredom, once you get comfortable with, okay, I am bored, your brain is gonna wanna get out of that boredom. And it's gonna find things that are different and interesting, and some aren't gonna work out. Trust me, there's a lot of things that didn't work, but eventually a few things will. And it's the process of figuring things out that's more important than the actual technique. So take your bachi and your drum, take your hand and your chest, and stay there until you're bored. Recognize that boredom, get comfortable with it, and then push past it just a few minutes longer. Maybe nothing comes of it, but maybe something does. It does with me, it does all the time. Now, some of you might be wondering, why not just use 2 bachi or 2 hands? That's double the creativity, right? Or at least double the potential for creativity. Yes, but no. When I use 2 bachi or 2 hands, I'm focusing on patterns and syncopation and sticking. I'm trying to see how many notes I can cram into a measure, and the answer is too many. But when I only have one thing to hit with, I'm very limited in what I can do. This is a parameter. This is a narrow hallway that limits some of the things I can do. And through that limitation often comes some very interesting ideas. Another valid question would be, why not just start with the bachi and the drum? Why go through all of this first? And the answer to that is, we're taiko players, yes, but we don't spend a lot of time on taiko when you consider a 24-hour cycle. Even if you're a professional taiko player, you have access to this way more than you have access to this. Or just a steering wheel, or a countertop, or your friend. I mean, maybe not your friend, maybe some friends. But you're going to have opportunities to do this way more than you will on a drum. And creativity here feeds into creativity here, and vice versa. So why limit yourself to, I am only going to learn how to play taiko on the taiko? That is a recipe for stunted growth. For me, taiko is everywhere. Taiko is in the car, in the shower, taiko is at work, taiko is asleep. I'm sure my brain is processing. And the more you practice it outside of taiko, the more you can bring into taiko as well. You can do this anywhere, anytime. Even if it's annoying to other people, you could still do it. Versus this is very limited. So enjoy this to make this better. And there you have it, the laziest taiko drill ever. Remember, it's not about what you're practicing, it's a lot more about how you're approaching your practice. So until next time, keep on practicing and be well.